Apart from some corners of the ocean, the outer world of this planet's been explored. Maybe not by you, and it still could be fun to go and see these places. Travelling is awesome. But someone somewhere at some point has been there, documented it, taken a picture and posted it to Instagram. So where is there new to explore in this day and age? Where can we find the excitement of new discoveries? Well, other than space, and unless you've fallen for the flat earth psyop, you believe that space exists, it's the internal world. So we have material survival pretty well covered here in the West, right? We've got that down. So that then gives access to free time, and then it's like, well, where do you spend that free time? And also with this day and age, we have the internet, access to nearly all of the world's information from so many different cultures and all of this great stuff that's there that can serve to help you spiritually evolve at a very, very quick rate, which is really, really amazing. So it's like the new realms to discover are in the inside. It's in the inside of a mushroom. It's in the inside of yourself, in the inside of your mind. And also, I believe, cool shit like psychic powers. I truly believe humanity has the capacity for psychic powers. I've seen enough in my life. I've experienced enough. I've read enough. I've spoke to some really interesting people that can tell you some really interesting stories. And over the time, enough of this sort of happens that you're like, yeah, I believe this shit's possible. I believe it's possible. And I've experienced what would be classed as a psychic power, but that's another story for another day. I just believe that it's possible that we can unlock this, and you don't actually need to have a psychedelic to do it. I think we can just do it sober. And then how we actually get there is another story for another time. But this is just to put it out there that I think this is where the new realms of discovery are for the seeker in this day and age. If you're like me, if you like to discover new things that have never been discovered before, or at least are not in the collective consciousness right now, then you'll be interested in what I'm speaking about. And I do believe that psychic powers can be accessed and unlocked. It's just, who is going to be the first person to bring it into the collective consciousness of the West? Because I've read stories from, Qigong practitioners, high-level Qigong practitioners. Dr. Pang Ming has loads of books about, and he has his own branch of Qigong called Zen Qigong, and it's for healing, blah, blah, blah. But in this book, he's documenting how they did experiments with psychic powers, all sorts of stuff. But in the West, it's just, everyone thinks you're mad, mostly, if you talk about psychic powers. But I believe it is in our destiny, in our trajectory as a race, that we're going to have, at some point, psychic powers. And that ties into polarization. But that's, again, another story for another time. Some people are getting more asleep. Some people are becoming more awake and more powerful. Da-da-da-da-da. But there will be a point, I reckon, this is me theorizing here, that we will have developed collectively enough that there will be somebody who's to bring forth psychic powers to the collective consciousness. And then when we look at what we need to actually have as a foundation before we get into psychic powers, I do believe it's actually moral development. It's huge. It's so important, because otherwise they will just get abused and used in the wrong way. So collectively, humanity has to morally develop to a certain point, or at least enough of us have to, that then we're ready to have psychic powers brought forth. And who's it going to be? Who's going to be that first person that is then blown up to the whole world and shown that, hey, look, I can lift shit with my mind, or I actually can bend this fucking spoon, or I can read people's minds, or whatever that first psychic power is that's brought into collective consciousness. I think there will be a time for that. It could go down that it's sort of quite underground, and even right now there are people that claim they have psychic powers, so it could already be that there are people that have them, but it's just not in the collective consciousness yet. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there never will be a time and it'll always be underground and the rest of humanity doesn't get to experience all this cool shit. But I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, it'll be on TV one day. It'll even be on the BBC. What a day that'll be. Is it you? Are you the person who's going to bring psychic powers to the world?